guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're just gonna do a little weekly reading vlog. So last night I started reading Ricochet, which is the second book in the Addicted series, and I personally did not really enjoy the first book in this series very much. It was a little bit uncomfortable for me, which is the point because the two main characters, Lily and Lo, Lily is a sex addict, Lo is an alcoholic. Both of them in that first book are at like the height of their addictions and at their worst, really. I do definitely like this one a lot more. Basically, I can't remember if I said I'm like 150 pages in chapter 9, which is about like halfway through this book, maybe a little bit more, and I am liking Lily so much more in this book. Lo honestly hasn't really been in it very much, but I do like that we're seeing that growth and development in Lily, and it's making me root for them like 10 times more than I did in that first book. So if you were scared or just didn't like that one, I would definitely still say continue this series. And this is probably one of the most talked about series on Book Talk, Bookstagram, Booktube, all of those. So I definitely would say like that first book kind of made me a little bit unsure, but this one is giving me a lot more hope for the rest of the series. And also you're starting to see some of the other couples. I love Rose and Connor so much. Daisy and Reich, I like their dynamics, but right now she's 15 and he's 22. And that is a little nasty. I hope that they at least age her before anything actually happens, or else a little icky, you know? But oh my god, I have a test later today, and last night I got literally the worst sleep ever. Oh my god, at 4 in the morning our apartment's alarm, not like our fire alarm, but like the entire apartment went off for literally like 20 minutes, like loud as crap. I literally had to wear my noise canceling headphones and I could still hear it. And then at like 6 in the morning somebody's dog was just like running around barking, and I don't know if it was loose or something because I heard people screaming, like trying to get at the dog. Anyways, I'll come back a little bit later, probably when I finish this book, just since it is pretty short, and like I said, I do have a test today and basically a full day of classes, so I don't know when I'll be back, but it'll be when I finish this video. I meant when I finish this book. So I did finish Ricochet. It was actually pretty quick. It's only a little bit over 200 pages, and a lot of the like in between chapter pages you'll get like a full blank page, so it went by pretty quickly. Like I said earlier, I definitely like this one a lot more than Addicted to You. That book, I mean, you just, like I said, you're going through their addictions and they're enabling each other and they're at the worst of it. And this one, she's going to therapy. Lo is in, I don't know if this spoils the first one, but I don't think so. Lo's in rehab, and so he's not in this book very much, but just being able to see them both working on themselves, not enabling each other anymore, but actually helping each other through their stuff, was really just nice to see, because like I said, the first book kind of made me a little iffy about how the rest of this series was gonna go, but this one made me a lot more excited and motivated to finish reading and, you know, get to the rest of the book. So I would say if you've read the first book and were not thinking you would like maybe the rest of the series just because of that, I would definitely still continue it. And yeah, so I think I'm gonna give it just a solid 4 stars. I did really like it, like I said, but it also wasn't necessarily anything crazy, you know, special. It was, like I said, pretty short, so I think 4 stars is just a solid good rating for what it is. Honestly, maybe even a little bit lower, but we're just gonna stick with that. And so I think next book that I'm gonna pick up is gonna be One Dark Window. This is a fantasy book, and I have just heard and seen this pretty much everywhere. I actually picked it up before it kind of started getting hype. It was one of the Barnes & Noble's like book of the month, and I was like, well, that sounds interesting, but I don't really know too much about it. It kind of sounds like a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but I'm not so sure how accurate that would actually be, but I don't know. So basically the main thing that it says on the back is Elspeth needs a monster. The monster might be her. So this one sounds really interesting. I've heard it's gothic. Not really sure if I've ever read any gothic books. Maybe Ninth House would be considered part of that. Not totally sure. But yeah, I just am really trying to pick up a fantasy book. It is fall, so I figured this would be perfect. And like I said, everybody's been saying really good things about it. And I think the second book comes out pretty soon. I'm not sure if there's going to be any more books than just the first and the second. Maybe there's just going to be a whole series, or I don't know if it's just a duology. We'll find that all out later. So I'm going to start reading this one, and I will will come back once I have more to say about this one. Hey guys, so clearly it's the next day and I didn't really get too far into this book. I think I only got like 18-ish pages in. Yeah, I only got to page 18, which is in like the very beginning of chapter 2. I'm not super sure what's going on yet. Obviously, fantasy books, you tend to have a little bit of world building for at least like 50-ish pages maybe. What I do know is that in this world, there's this infection going around and our main character Elspeth was infected, and apparently once you get this infection, you're supposed to get magical powers, something like that, and she doesn't think she has magic. I don't know if that's just like a lie she's telling herself. It kind of goes into that, so I'm not so sure. It seems like she has this internal dialogue with someone or something, like it's in her head. Again, not really sure what that's about. The world definitely does sound interesting. Apparently it's like once you get this infection, these things called, I mean, okay, we know what physicians are, but in this world, like it seems more of like a military police thing trying to get rid of these infected people than actual like doctors. It does still sound interesting. The world does feel very gothic and dark already, even though we haven't gotten to too much. She has a sister, and I think it's her sister or cousin, I can't remember, and then she also has these 2 twin half-sisters. Her stepmom is really awful and like hates on her, and her dad actually used to be one of the leaders of the people that are, you know, seeking out these infected people, so that's pretty interesting. But it seems like the whole family is keeping her prior infection like under wraps, obviously a secret, because otherwise she will, I don't know if it's killed or just like taken somewhere, honestly. But yeah, so I'm actually about to go to a coffee shop, maybe study for a little bit, also read for a little bit. I did take my test yesterday, like I said, so I have a little bit of free time this weekend. Not too much, just because my school is a quarter system, so we only have 10 weeks for our entire quarter instead of like a normal semester, which is 16 weeks. So we're at a pretty fast paced, but since I took my test yesterday, I do want to have a little bit of downtime, which means I get to read a lot. And yeah, I do plan on actually going to my actual house later, which isn't too far from where my campus is. So yeah, I will take you guys all along with me for that. And yeah. Hey guys, so I'm like 180 pages now into One Dark Window. I'm definitely liking it a lot more than I was in the beginning. Obviously, once you start understanding more, it's easier to actually enjoy what you're reading. I really like the vibes of it. It's really gothic and dark, like it feels like a dark fairy tale, which is kind of how it was advertised to me, so definitely thumbs up for the fall vibes. But right now I'm actually outside of Barnes and I'm gonna go study inside and maybe reward myself with a little book after I finish studying. And I'll try to get some footage once I'm in there. Probably not like too much, but might as well get a little bit. And yeah, so I'll see you guys inside. Okay, hey guys, so I just finished One Dark Window and I did like it, but I didn't love it. I think like the more books that I read, it honestly gets harder to rate them, but I think we're gonna go with like around a 3.5. It did feel a little bit slow at points, and we do end on a cliffhanger, which is fine, but it didn't necessarily feel like we got a whole complete story in this first book. Like, you get really no closure at all. I don't necessarily love when books are like that, where yeah, like I love series generally, but but I still want to have a good amount of closure and to have each book feel like it's legitimately its own story still. But I don't know, I'm very conflicted with my thoughts on it. I do really like the story. I like a lot of the characters. I liked where the romance was going, but I don't know. I still feel like I needed a little bit more to truly love it. And so yesterday I did obviously go to the bookstore and I did get 2 books. So I got Addicted for Now and Once Upon a Broken Heart, which I really have been wanting to have the UK covers for this, but whether that'll happen or not, I don't know. So I figured I might as well just start this because I did read the Caraval trilogy and I really like that. I like Stephanie Garber's writing a lot and everybody says that this series is just even better than that series. So I do definitely want to read this series soon, especially now that the 3rd book should be coming out soon, because that was kind of putting me off from starting it since I've heard so many people say that the 2nd book in it ends in a huge cliffhanger and that they were really upset about having to wait and stuff. So I can finally pick that up soon. But I also did read Ricochet recently and I really just liked the direction that the Addicted series seems to be going in now. So I think I'm actually going to pick this book up and continue the series because I do have some of the later books in it just because they were on sale and I ended up getting them. So I think I'm just going to go with this one so I can get back into the world, not leave it for too long, because this is like, I don't know, maybe a 10-book series. I can't even remember how long it is, but again, we're following Lily and Lo, kind of going through their character development. And yeah, so I think we're going to start this one and I will come back when I have a little bit more to say about it. So right now I'm almost done with Addicted for Now. I know I haven't really updated too much while I've been reading it, or I think at all really since I started it. But the reason for that is it is the 3rd book in a series, so I obviously don't want to give away too many spoilers. And then also I don't really feel like my thoughts have been changing that much throughout while I've been reading. Obviously you're still going through dealing with their addictions for both Lily and Lo. I will say they're definitely doing a little bit better. It's kind of like the whole 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing. But obviously they both are making a lot of progress and they've stopped enabling each other, which makes it obviously a lot easier to read and a lot easier to root for them. So I'm definitely liking that aspect of it, and I do like this book in general. I still think maybe Ricochet was a little bit better, honestly. I'm not totally sure, but I am liking it. I am really liking to see more of Rose and Connor. Daisy and Reich, even though I did say it's kind of weird because in this she's 16 and he's 22, which a little icky, but they've still found a way to make me root for it. And obviously it is fictional, so normally I would never be okay with that in real life, but again, it is fictional, so you kind of can let some things slide a little bit more than you would in a normal situation. And yeah, so like I said, I'm really liking the little cameos that we're getting of the later couples. But again, I do still hope that before they actually do get together, she does age up a little bit. I don't know when their books, take place. I don't know how far along in time, we get to that, but I am liking this book and I am almost done. So I don't necessarily think I will update when I'm done, just because, like I said, my thoughts really haven't been changed. I mean, they've basically been the same throughout this entire book, and I am still very much excited to read the rest of the series, especially getting to the other couples, like I said. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for this one, and I will probably come back when I start another book. Okay, so I did film like that last clip really not too long ago because I did think it was going to take me a little bit longer to finish the end of Addicted for Now, but the end does kind of have a lot of bonus content, so I actually was pretty close to the end when I filmed that. But I think I am going to start one more book in this video, and because I think it's A Curse for True Love just came out, I am going to start Once Upon a Broken Heart. I did read the Caraval trilogy and I did really like it. I know some people are kind of iffy on it. I personally really enjoyed it. Stephanie Garber's writing is super atmospheric and she does a really good job of describing like a very magical world. So I'm really excited to get into this series because I've heard absolutely nothing but good things about this, and I did hear that the second book does end on some crazy cliffhanger, which is why I've kind of been putting off until the 3rd book came out, so I wouldn't have to actually wait, too long after that one. But yeah, so I'm really excited to start reading this, and I don't really know too much about it other than than the main characters are Evangeline, and then you also have Jax, who's the Prince of Hearts, who we did meet in the Caraval trilogy. I've heard that this somewhat does spoil some of the things that happens in there, so obviously I'm not going to talk about anything that, you know, is spoilery either for this series or that series, but yeah, really excited to read it. Like I said, I heard nothing but really good things, and I am very much in a fantasy mood right now, so yeah, I will come back when I have a little bit more to say about this. Hey guys, so right now I'm a little bit over 80 pages into Once Upon a Broken Heart, and I am really liking it. Obviously, we are starting a new fantasy series, so there is a little bit of world building. Of course, that's usually how it goes with fantasy series, so you don't usually go like straight into, you know, the plots or anything like that. So we did meet our two main characters, Evangeline Fox and then the Prince of Hearts, who is Jax. And so far, I do like them both. I already kind of met Jax a little bit in the Caraval series, and I have to say, like, all you have to tell me about a man in a fictional book is that he has dimples, and I am down. That's all I need to know. And I really did like the way that they meet. She is going to his like temple, which is, you know, basically for people who either have unrequited love or get their hearts broken. In the beginning, she finds out that the guy that she's been kind of seeing secretly is now engaged to her stepsister, and what she does is she goes to this temple, tries to make a deal to stop their wedding because she thinks that he's cursed, or like they're cursed or something, that he's being forced to marry his stepsister, which I don't think is really the case. And yeah, so basically she makes this deal with Jax, so in return for her kissing randomly like 3 people at 3 different times of his choosing, he will stop the wedding for her. The thing about these like fates, which are basically what he is, they have like these powers and they kind of like play games. They don't really give you what you want right out of the bat, so basically it goes a little bit wrong in the beginning. Starting off pretty strong, I already like where we're going. I can't remember if I said it or not, but I just got into part 2 and now we're kind of progressing the plot a lot more instead of just, you know, building this world and stuff like that. And yeah, so far into it, obviously don't have too much to say. We are still pretty much in the beginning, but yeah, excited to see where this goes. Okay, hey guys, so clearly it's later in the day. I look awful. I just worked out, so ignore the hair in the face. I'm a little bit sweaty still, but I'm like halfway through Once Upon a Broken Heart, and again, still really liking it. It does feel a lot more magical now. We've kind of progressed the plot, and I'm really liking where it's going. I really like the dynamic between Jax and Evangeline, and then also just her half-sister, and then just some of the other characters. I'm really, like I said, very curious to see where this goes, especially because it is a trilogy, so probably not going to get like too far into the entire plot with this book, but I am really liking this as the first book in a series. You know, sometimes it's a little bit harder to get into them, but so far really liking it. It feels like such, like I said, a magical world. She does a really good job of describing the entire world without being too descriptive, especially in this one. I would say Caraval was a little bit over descriptive at parts, but she's definitely gotten a lot better with her writing. It just feels like such a fairy tale, such a dream world. I am absolutely loving the vibes of it, really liking just our main characters, and yeah, that's all I really want to say about it without spoiling anything. We do see some of the characters that were in Caraval. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you who or how, but really excited, and so far is living up to the hype, which is really all you can ask for with super hyped books like this one. Okay, hey guys, so I just finished Once Upon a Broken Heart and I really loved it. I don't know exactly what I'm rating it as of right now. I think I am leaning towards a 4.5. It wasn't necessarily like my favorite book I've ever read, but I do think that it's setting up for what could potentially be like one of my favorite series. So really loved it. Again, Stephanie Garber's writing is just super magical and whimsical, and you can really just see the growth between this and then the whole Caraval series. I don't think I mentioned it before, but another thing that I really liked about this book is that it has like little newspaper clippings throughout, basically like gossip, but it was really kind of fun to just read, you know, what everybody else in this world is getting to like hear news-wise. Also, I think Stephanie Garber did a really good job adding some good plot twists in there. A lot of things I didn't see coming and a lot of things took me by surprise. There was also just a really good amount of like high stakes and tension to where you're really just super into the book and you want to finish it so badly. And kind of in that same note, it's super easy to read and it's really bingeable. Unlike a lot of other fantasy books, there's really no issue with understanding what's going on. I know in the beginning, you know, I said it took a little bit to get into, maybe very little, but it's not at all like other fantasy books where, you know, you don't have any idea what's going on for the first 50, 100 pages or anything like that. Also, kind of what made it even easier to read too is a lot of the chapters are pretty short, so that's also something that I definitely liked. And I think that is going to be the last book that I read in this reading vlog, but I definitely plan on reading the next one probably in the next video that I do. So I think it's A Ballad of Never After or something like that, so that'll definitely be coming up pretty soon. I do have a pretty busy week this next week coming up. I have 2 tests next week, like a week from today, and I'm planning on going to a football game this weekend, so lots going on, but I definitely will still plan in to, you know, throw some reading in there. I think that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys liked it, and let me know if you guys want to see some more like school, studying, just like lifestyle stuff in these videos. I'm not really sure if you guys are here just for books. That's totally fine too, but yeah, let me know. Also, let me know if you've read any of these books and if you have any thoughts on them or what you're reading this week. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys all in the next one. This is